25 people dead, including 3 children.
On business news tonight, Debt Management Office seeks to raise 460 billion naira through 2 reopenings of existing federal government bonds auction on offer for November.
On sports news tonight, at the CAF Awards, Morocco Ashraf Hakimi wins Men's Player of the Year award as Nigeria's Chiamaka Nnadozie claims Goalkeeper of the Year for the 3rd consecutive time.
And from the nation's capital, National Assembly Joint Committee on Electoral Reforms assures Nigerians that ongoing process will produce elections that truly reflect the will of the people.
We begin tonight with an assurance coming from President Bola Tinubu to Nigerians that the federal government will deploy all necessary equipment and instruments to secure the return of the abducted MAGA schoolgirls from Danko Masagu local government area of Kebbi State. Vice President Kashim Shettima made the president's assurance known during his visit to Kebbi State to commiserate with the government and the people of the state.
Vice President Kashim Shettima touches down at the Sir Ahmadu Bello International Airport in the company of the National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress and other government officials. They are received by Governor Nasir Idris of Kebbi State. From the airport, the delegation moves to the Government House, where the Vice President holds an interaction with traditional rulers and other relevant stakeholders. The Vice President is in the state on the directive of President Bola Tinubu following the abduction of schoolgirls in Maga community in Danko Wasagu local government area of Kebbi State. Aside from commiserating with the people, he knows that the President's priority is the safe return of the schoolgirls, while promising to honor late Brigadier General Musa Uba, who was allegedly killed by terrorists, alongside the Vice Principal of Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School, Maga.
Mr. President is deeply troubled by this tragedy. He shares your anguish, and he has sent me to assure you that this is not a moment for politics. This grief transcends party lines, geography, and identity. This is a time for unity, for compassion, and for firm resolve in the face of evil. This government will not relent. We'll use every instrument of the state to bring these girls home and to ensure that the perpetrators of this wickedness pay the full weight of justice.
Governor Idris appreciates President Bola Tinubu for his support, noting that the state government is complementing federal efforts by providing an enabling environment for security agencies.
Our prayer is just to see these our daughters came out soon. And we have directed all our clerics in the states to continue to pray. We know they are doing, but we ask them to add more effort to ensure that day and night continue to pray so that we will see these our daughters out.
The Vice President leaves the people with a promise that the girls will be returned safely, assuring them of improved security.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has postponed his scheduled trip to Johannesburg, South Africa and Luanda in Angola as he awaits further security briefings on the kidnapped Kebbi schoolgirls and the attack on Christ Apostolic Church worshippers in Eruku in Kwara State. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Nonuga, says in response to the request by the governor of Kwara State, President Tinubu has ordered the deployment of more security men to Eruku and all local government areas of the state, directing the police to go after the bandits who attacked the worshippers. President Tinubu was scheduled to leave Abuja today to attend the 20th G20 Summit of Leaders in South Africa and thereafter proceed to Luanda in Angola to attend the 7th AU-EU Summit. However, the president will now await reports from the Vice President Kashim Shettima, who's gone to Kebbi State on his behalf. President Tinubu will also wait reports from the police and the DSS regarding the attack in Kwara. But according to the statement, the president has reiterated his directive to the security agencies to do everything possible to rescue the schoolgirls and bring them back home safe. The Federal High Court in Abuja has adjourned the trial of two suspected Ansaru terrorist leaders, Mahmoud Usman and Abubakar Abba, setting January the 15th, 2026 for the commencement of trial. The suspects were recently captured by the Department of State Services, the DSS. The trial, originally scheduled to begin this Wednesday, was postponed following request from the accused person's counsel for additional time to be formally served with charges and to review the proof of evidence. During proceedings, the defendant's lawyer, B.I. Bakum, informed the court that the charges and accompanying evidence remained with the DSS, where the suspects were detained under court orders. He also requested that the accused be transferred to the correctional center to facilitate proper access and ensure a smooth trial. However, the DSS counsel, Assistant Director David Kause, opposed the transfer request, maintaining the current detention arrangement. The presiding judge, Justice Emeka Nwite, ruled that in the interest of fair hearing, he would consider the defendant's submission. He also directed the defendant's lawyer to seek written permission from the DSS for client visit and copy the prosecution and all correspondences to ensure transparency and procedural compliance. Back in Kwara State, where at least 3 persons have died and 35 others abducted during an attack on a church in Eruku community, the pastor of the church, Mr. Abiodun Bamilede, confirmed the figures to journalists. However, Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak of Kwara State, who visited the community following that attack, has promised residents that the federal government is working to address the insecurity challenges in the country.
Residents of Eruku community, a town in Ekiti local government area of Kwara State, are still grappling with the latest attack on the community. A viral video captured the moment of the attack during a church service. The worshippers scampered to safety as the attackers carted away their belongings. According to the pastor of the church, 35 worshippers were abducted, 3 people killed.
They kidnapped almost 35 members of the church. Yes. What about the casualties? How many? 3 casualties and 1 university.
Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak of Kwara State leads a delegation, including security operatives to the community, which borders Kogi State. He arrives at the palace of the traditional ruler of the community to commiserate with the people. The traditional ruler calls for the establishment of a military base in the area to curtail attacks on the community.
So that we at least helping up our security.
The governor sympathized with them, assuring that the federal government is not relenting in its efforts to end the attacks.
The main purpose here is to commiserate and the community.
The governor later visited the scene of the incident as he ordered the immediate security deployment to the local government.
We will win the fight against terrorism. That's an assurance coming from the federal government to Nigerians. According to the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, who made this known at a press briefing on the security situation and the growing concern among citizens, the recent killing of a high-ranking army general, the abduction of schoolgirls in Kebbi, and the attack on the church in Kwara State are all weighing heavily on the government.
Let it also be known that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has put our nation's security apparatus on the highest alert ever and has deployed them to actively pursue and eliminate these terrorists, bandits, and criminal elements wherever they may be in Nigeria. Our security forces have also been mandated to swiftly rescue the abducted Kebbi schoolgirls and reunite them with their families. Similarly, the President has also directed that all those who have been abducted in Eruku also be reunited with their families. At this critical time, it is imperative for all Nigerians to stand as one. We must reject misinformation and division. We also need to recognize that our common enemies are the terrorists, bandits, and criminals seeking to destabilize our nation. The federal government of Nigeria is deploying all available resources and strategies to decisively win this battle for the nation's security and for our future. We remain optimistic that the abducted Kebbi school girls will be rescued and will be safely returned to their families. Government is also very optimistic that those abducted in Kwara State will also be reunited with their families.
The federal government is warning that recent statements by the United States regarding Nigeria's security situation may have unintentionally encouraged opportunistic violent groups. Speaking at a media briefing in Abuja, the nation's capital, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. George Akume, also noted that these groups are taking advantage of international narratives to launch renewed attacks on soft targets across the country.
Bandits target all communities without religious distinction. Victims include Christian, Muslims, and traditionalists, confirming that the drivers are economic and ideological, not religious extermination. The current misrepresentation of the crisis as genocide against Christians fuels dangerous religious tensions, emboldens extremists and criminal factions seeking to exploit sectarian narratives, create diplomatic friction based on inaccurate interpretations, and undermines Nigeria's long-standing effort to build constructive international security partnerships. Nigeria does not require foreign troops. What we need is targeted support from partners, especially the United States, in areas of intelligence cooperation, technology and military equipment support for advanced engagement against the insurgents.
In part two, after the break, Nigerian Dental Association raises alarm over growing number of dental quacks in the country. Please join us again. back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Federal government pledges to secure the safe return of the 24 schoolgirls abducted in Maga, Kebbi State. President Bola Tinubu defers his visit to South Africa and Angola to receive additional briefings on the recent attacks in Kebbi and Kwara. Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak pays condolence visit to Eruku community where bandits killed 3 persons and abducted 35 members of the community. And Russian missile and drone attacks on Ternopil, a city in western Ukraine, has left at least 25 people dead, including 3 children. All is now set for the judgment in the trial of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, on alleged terrorism. The trial is a culmination of about 10 years of complex legal maneuvers, adjournments, and a dramatic back and forth between the defense and the prosecution, which has captured national attention. In this next report, we'll look at the timeline of key developments leading to this point.
Of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu was initially charged with treason, terrorism, and illegal possession of firearms in 2015. He was granted bail in April of 2017, but subsequently fled the country. In a major development in June of 2021, he was rearrested and extradited to Nigeria. He's been held in the Department of State Services facility ever since. He has been facing terrorism charges related to his campaign for the secession of the southeast of Nigeria. He's facing charges of treasonable felony, unlawful possession of firearms, and managing an unlawful society. However, on February the 10th, 2022, the Kenyan government filed an affidavit confirming that Kanu entered Kenya on May the 12th, 2021 as a British citizen, and that there was no official record of his departure. This strengthened claims that he was unlawfully renditioned to Nigeria. A court in Kenya would later rule that Kanu's arrest and transfer from Kenya to Nigeria in June of 2021 were unlawful and violated his fundamental human rights. In 2022, he approached the Court of Appeal, challenging the decision to proceed with his trial in view of the legal issues surrounding his rendition from Kenya. The appellate court agreed with him and discharged him of all charges, ruling that the rendition was illegal. However, on December the 15th, 2023, the Supreme Court overturned the Court of Appeal judgment, stating that Kanu still faced valid terrorism charges and must stand trial. This decision cleared the way for the trial to resume at the Federal High Court.
Poor knowledge of the law is killing Nigeria. Poor knowledge of the law, they don't know the law.
The trial commenced fully this year, but not without drama, as Kanu accused the trial judge, Justice Binta Nyako, of bias, asking her to recuse herself from the case. Justice Nyako agreed to recuse herself from the case, which was subsequently reassigned to Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court. On March the 21st, 2025, the trial resumed before Justice Omotosho as Kanu faced 7 terrorism-related counts. He pleaded not guilty. In May of 2025, the court admitted video evidence from the prosecution. But later, in a significant win for the defense, Justice Omotosho ruled during a trial within a trial that all of Kanu's previous statements to the DSS were made under duress and without legal representation, rendering them inadmissible. After calling witnesses, the prosecution closed the case in trial on June the 20th, 2025. On September the 22nd, the trial took another twist as Kanu applied for improved medical access, which the court referred to the Nigerian Medical Association. The association would eventually state that he is fit to stand trial. In October of 2025, Kanu sacked his entire legal team, citing a need to represent himself and assess his case files to prepare for a defense that he claimed would involve calling over 20 witnesses. When he was asked to open his defense, this is how he approached it.
Your constitution says you cannot try anybody unless the law is written. Show me the written law. Show me the written law.
The court is now set to deliver its final verdict on November the 20th, 2025, determining the fate of the IPOB leader after years of legal battles.
The Nigerian Dental Association has decried the proliferation of quacks in the dentistry profession, and this was made known in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, during the Rivers Chapter Association's annual general meeting and the 7th Ends Dublin Green Memorial Lecture. Speaking on the sideline of that event, the state chapter chairman, Dr. Thomas Salami, decried the influx of quacks who offer cosmetic procedures under the guise of being beauticians. Our correspondent Charles Oporum reports.
It's the annual general meeting of the Rivers State chapter of the Nigerian Dental Association, an event which doubles as a lecture in honor of Nigeria's first ever dentist, Ernest Dublin Green.
He's represented by...
With the theme, Global Trends in Dental Practice and Their Effects on Population Health, and sub-theme, Quackery, a trending menace in dental practice. The association's chairman weighs in on the conversation of quacks in the profession.
We see beauty parlors as fast rendering cosmetic dentistry procedures like teeth whitening, bleaching, provision of veneers for patients. This we very much frown at as an association, because those non-dentists rendering such services are firstly not qualified and unlicensed.
In his remarks, the Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt, who is also a dentist, challenges the government to improve salaries of medical professionals to reduce brain drain.
We don't have enough dentists. The few that are trained, because abroad they are more appreciated, the salary is far, far better. The salary they earn over there in a month will cover 6 months' salary here. So finally, that is very attractive for the young ones. So if the country is serious, they need to review the welfare package of doctors generally, including dentists, so they can retain people. Actually, Nigeria tries in terms of training doctors and dentists, because to train as a dentist abroad is huge. It's top money.
Speaking about their father's legacy, a representative of the Green family thanks the NDA for honoring him.
We are really delighted that the Rivers State arm of the Dental and Medical Association, or Medical and Dental Association, has taken it upon themselves to celebrate him as Nigeria's first dentist. In other parts of the country, people who are the pioneers celebrate their pioneers. And it is interesting, and we thank God that at least in Rivers State they have thought it wise.
The clampdown on quackery in dentistry is a major battle which the association is optimistic about overcoming, and it hopes to do so through constant reminders of the need to rid the system of fake practitioners. Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
Let's move over now as we head to the nation's capital, where Millicent Walker is standing by to bring us more stories on the news at 10. Over to you, Millicent.
Many thanks, Anne. And right here we begin from the National Assembly, where the Joint Committee on Electoral Matters is assuring Nigerians that the ongoing electoral reform will deliver elections that reflect the will of the people. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Electoral Matters, Senator Simon Lalong, made the promise at the opening of the one-day review meeting on electoral repeal and enactment bill in Abuja. Senator Lalong believes that the nation's electoral system needs reforms that are practical, inclusive, and backed by political will. He notes that the review represents a crucial step in collective commitment to strengthening electoral processes and ensuring that they remain transparent, credible, and reflective of the democratic ideals. Into party politics, 24 hours after the chaos at the headquarters of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, the Nigeria police has now taken over the premises as they deployed barbed wires to barricade the entrance into the building. Well, trouble started Tuesday when a group loyal to the National Secretary of the party, Samuel Anyanwu, clashed with supporters of the national chairman, Tanimu Turaki, over the leadership of the party. Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde, as well as Samuel Anyanwu and his supporters were all at the center of the debacle on Tuesday. Still ahead on the news at 10, Debts Management Office to raise 460 billion naira through 2 reopenings of existing federal government bonds in the November auction. That's on Business News. To join us again. 10 come to you live from Abuja studios. To other stories, the management of Nile University of Nigeria says it is launching the Nile Business School in furtherance of its commitments to the core cornerstone of its vision to ensure learning at all levels must positively impact society. Well, speaking on the motivation for setting up the school at its official launch in Abuja, the Vice-Chancellor of the university and the Dean of the Nile Business School submitted that educational institutions must proffer solutions to real-life challenges facing the country.
For the elevation that they are about to bring.
The Nile University Business School is being launched at a time when the country and continent is going through various challenges, from the economy to health and the environment. The management of Nile University says it will be a game changer.
What is the mission? The mission is education for impact. Honoris United believes that without education, all our endeavors will fall short of expectation. Therefore, they decided that for Africa to be impactful in the fourth industrial revolution, having lost in the first, second, and third, then we have to create institutions that will define the future of Africa for Africans.
Those challenges, they can only resolve if they have the right type of people, and we are here to ensure that the right type of people are trained. Who are the right type of people? High-performing people with the requisite skills and competencies, not yesterday's skills and competencies, not yesterday's mindset, but today's skills and competencies and mindset. And we have the programs, we have the delivery mechanisms to do that.
The school is then unveiled. Attendees are shown around the smart hybrid learning infrastructure.
Is coming up in a bit. So you are a customer service representative. A customer has contacted you with a complaint. Please handle the issue calmly and professionally.
Earlier, the Vice-Chancellor had briefed the media on activities lined up for the 13th convocation of the university.
I think we are lucky to have such a person as the convocation speaker for the 13th convocation. And you are all invited tomorrow at 11 o'clock at the Nile University Conference Hall for that particular lecture. Over these years, Nile University have invested in every scope, in every area, to ensure that the quality of education here in Nile University is into everybody's expectation.
The school says it represents the future of business education and leadership in Africa. Daily Omoyeni, Channels Television News.
And that's it from Abuja, and it's back to you.
Thank you very much, Millicent. The Ogun State government has officially flagged off the implementation of the Nigeria for Women program scale-up project. It is aimed at empowering about 200,000 women across the state. At the official flag-off held at the Ojude Oba Pavilion in Ijebu-Ode, the Ogun State capital, in Ijebu-Ode, the Commissioner for Finance, Dapo Okunbadejo, also represented the state governor, saying the program has become imperative for financial literacy, self-reliance, and economic empowerment of women.
Women and beneficiaries from 4 local governments are gathered at the Ojude Oba Pavilion in Ijebu-Ode, joined by government officials and traditional rulers for the kick-off ceremony of the Nigeria for Women Scale-Up project, a program initiated by the federal government and the World Bank in collaboration with the Ogun State government. The platform being implemented aims to boost women economic empowerment and enhance economic opportunities of unbanked women in Ogun State.
The accomplishments from the first phase of the project speak for themselves. A total of 3,792 women affinity groups and 61 livelihood collectives and hubs were successfully established across Ijebu North, Odeda, Yewa North, and the Kanu local government areas. The hubs today have evolved into living ecosystems of innovation, savings, collaboration, investment, and intergenerational learning. They are excellent evidence that when women are provided with the right structure, training, and support, they do not just grow, they transform lives, their families, and their communities.
Ogun State Commissioner for Finance, who also doubles as the chairman, Multi-Sectoral Coordinating Structure Committee, shares his thoughts on the program.
Our objective is very clear. The contribution of women to economic growth and development cannot be overemphasized. A significant percentage of our nano, micro, and small enterprises is actually being controlled and powered by women. So therefore, it's essential that we bring this program to our women.
A representative of the World Bank and beneficiaries commended the Ogun State government for the sense of purpose made to bear on the program as well.
Congratulations to the Ogun State government. Nigeria for Women that we are celebrating today is the flagship women's economic empowerment program on the continent of Africa. And guess what? Ogun State is the flagship state for implementing that program in Nigeria.
I benefit so much from it, how to save and spend, and how to join with people to work.
The high point of the implementation kickoff ceremony was a presentation of employment certificates to the facilitators responsible for the training of the beneficiaries.
We're continuing the world of business with Joke Rogers to bring us more stories. Thank you, Anne. Welcome to Business News. The Debt Management Office is seeking to raise a total of 460 billion naira through 2 reopenings of existing federal government of Nigeria bonds. According to the DMO, the subscription will comprise 230 billion naira for the 17.9% August 2030 bond 5-year reopening and another 230 billion naira for the June 2032 bonds 7-year reopening, also at 17.95%. The offer, scheduled for auction next week Monday, is part of the government's efforts to strengthen domestic borrowing, enhance market liquidity, and support budget financing through long-term, low-risk instruments. Lagos State made history today as the first African city to host the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award Forum. The global event, which now supports 1.2 million young people worldwide, has generated more than £1 billion in social value. Speaking at the ceremony, the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Edward, highlights the importance of hosting this forum in Nigeria. Also in attendance is the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, who says the initiative aligns with national plans to equip young Nigerians with future-ready skills.
This is the 14th time the association has gathered at a forum in over 40 years. It's the first time in Nigeria and only the 4th time in the Africa region. So we've been in Mauritius before, to South Africa and to Ghana. But this is rather a special one, isn't it? Because this is the first time we've combined forum with the International Gold event.
300 young people from 50 countries across the world. They all reached the highest level of award of the Duke of Edinburgh's award, and they've come together. And then secondly, every 3 years there's a gathering of all the different countries where the
non-formal education accreditation and youth development framework, which is what the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award is.
Lagos State also hosted the 11th Policy Dialogue Series on Entrepreneurship organized by the Fate Institute, the research, policy and advocacy arm of the Fate Foundation. The event focused on the theme From Enterprise to Industry, Unlocking MSME Potential for Nigeria's Industrialization. Special guest at the event, the Minister of State for Industry, Mr. John Eno, challenged operators of businesses and the youths to explore the better strategies to boost productivity and industrialization. It's still a negative sentiment for the domestic stock market as investors continued profit-taking activities for a third consecutive day this week. Laddie Williams tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, the midweek trade didn't snap the losses so far, with the Nigerian equities market sustaining bearish momentum. If we look at the activity chart now, we see volume that's up about 134% today at 892 million units, valued at 23 billion naira. That's up about 4%. So it's like sell pressure, today, seeing that the all-share index dipped. Together, this means the market was very active, but trading was concentrated in lower-priced or speculative stocks rather than the high-value blue chips. And we see the market cap there, 92 trillion. But if you look at what played out right there with the all-share index, 0.23%, still a slight dip, just like yesterday, 144,646 points there for the all-share index. So right now, we see the year-to-date performance still at 40.53% to the good. We'll see if the next two trading days, maybe some cherry picking.
And we end business news with closing figures from global stock markets. That's business news tonight. Back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Joke. And on the foreign scene, we join Simon Pizzi for more international news and around the world in 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. At least 20 people have been killed, including 2 children, in a Russian drone and missile attack on the western city of Ternopil that hit 2 blocks of flats in Ukraine. Another 66 people were wounded, 16 of them children, in one of the deadliest Russian attacks on western Ukraine since the full-scale war began in 2022. 2 other western regions were hit, and a drone attack targeted 3 districts in the northern city of Kharkiv, wounding more than 30 people. At least 13 people have been killed in an Israeli strike near a Palestinian refugee camp in southern Lebanon. The Israeli military said it had targeted members of the Palestinian armed group Hamas. It said the location was used by Hamas to plan and carry out attacks against Israel, which Hamas rejected as fabrication and lies. Israel has carried out regular airstrikes on people and places in Lebanon since a deal to end the conflict with the Iran-backed armed group Hezbollah. Most strikes have targeted Hezbollah, but Israel has also attacked Hamas in the country. All 246 passengers of a South Korean passenger ferry have been rescued after it ran aground on rocks off the country's southeast coast. That's according to the Coast Guard. Officials added that the Queen Genuvia 2 is stuck on a reef and unable to move, but there is currently no risk of it sinking or capsizing. The accident happened near Jangsan Island in Sinan County on Wednesday evening local time. The vessel ran aground on rocks near the uninhabited island of Jogdo.
Vote. The yeas are 427, the nays are 1.
Both chambers of U.S. Congress have agreed to order the U.S. Justice Department to release its files on the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The House of Representatives overwhelmingly approved the measures in a 427-to-1 vote. The Senate said it would pass the bill before it officially received it. President Donald Trump must ultimately sign off the measure, which he said he will do. He recently reversed his position and urged fellow Republicans to vote to disclose the records, following pushback from many of his own supporters.
The Trump people and the Trump Justice Department decided to open an investigation just a few days ago into quote, Democrats who were involved in the Epstein activities. And what that does is it freezes some documents. They can't be released as long as an investigation is underway. So we'll see how much we actually get. We'll see whether all the documents are still there. We'll never know for sure, as we have in so many other federal investigations. Things disappear. They're misplaced. It's really remarkable. But this is a tremendous turnaround for Donald Trump. He was forced to give in because he was going to be embarrassed. He was going to lose by a wide margin, including in his own party, which he has controlled tightly since he got into his second term.
Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office.
Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump said Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman knew nothing about the 2018 killing of the journalist Jamal Khashoggi as he welcomed the kingdom's de facto ruler to the White House. Mr. Trump's comments appeared to contradict a U.S. intelligence assessment which determined the Crown Prince had approved the operation that led to Khashoggi's death at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul in 2018. The Crown Prince, who has denied any wrongdoing, said at the White House that Saudi Arabia did all the right things to investigate Mr. Khashoggi's death, which he called painful.
As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen, but he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
And people in Nuremberg have watched hundreds of sheep being herded through the city on their way to winter pastures. The event, which saw around 600 sheep across the city's historic centre, has become a popular annual tradition. The sheep were on their way to winter pastures west of Nuremberg, where Gagstatter's sheep and other herds are used in various meadows over the summer to keep the grass neat and short. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Morocco captain Achraf Hakimi has won the African Men's Player of the Year award, capping a season in which he lifted the UEFA Champions League with his club PSG. The 27-year-old also won the 4th Ligue 1 title last season and claimed the French Cup and UEFA Super Cup. The right-back beat out 2 past winners in Liverpool's Egyptian forward Mohamed Salah and Nigeria's striker Victor Osimhen to claim the prize for the first time in his career. And Nigeria's Chiamaka Nnadozie solidified her standing as Africa's premier shot stopper after being crowned the 2025 CAF Women's Goalkeeper of the Year. Nnadozie won the prestigious title for the 3rd consecutive year at the CAF Award ceremony. Meanwhile, Super Falcons were named the Women's Team of the Year. Ghislaine Chebak of Morocco emerged the Women's Player of the Year, beating Super Falcons captain Rasheedat Ajibade to the award. The president of the International Olympic Committee, IOC, Kirsty Coventry, welcomes a new Olympic truce resolution introduced by Italy at the UN General Assembly ahead of the Milano Cortina 2026 Winter Games, calling it a vital step to safeguard athletes as it urges a pause in global conflicts. Coventry believes the resolution reinforces the principle of sporting neutrality, which she describes as an incredibly strong message that lets athletes live out their dreams. The 42-year-old says sport has the power to build bridges and unite people.
Seeing the incredible support for the Olympic truce that was just taken this morning by the United Nations, it sends an incredibly strong message to keep sport neutral and to allow for athletes from around the world to be able to live out their dreams and their aspirations and to continue to inspire the world. The power of sport is there to be able to really build bridges and to unite us. And this is what we believe in the Olympic movement. And so we are going to continue to ensure that we allow for athletes from every part of our world to come together in a peaceful manner to be able to compete. And that is going to be strengthened in the working group that I just mentioned, that's focusing on our fundamental principle of Olympism, to ensure that we continue in that direction.
UEFA has given Barcelona the go-ahead to play Champions League matches at their partially rebuilt Camp Nou stadium. The news comes just a couple of days after Barcelona announced their long-awaited return to league action at the stadium, which had been beset by construction chaos after more than 2 years in exile. The Spanish champions will host Eintracht Frankfurt at the Camp Nou on December 9, just about 2 weeks after re-inaugurating the stadium against Atletico Bilbao in domestic action on November the 22. And Premier League leaders Arsenal will end their partnership deal with Rwanda at the end of this season. The Visit Rwanda partnership, signed 8 seasons ago, had increasingly come under scrutiny due to spiraling violence in mineral-rich Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, which borders Rwanda. Arsenal fans in April protested against the ongoing partnership, which involves the Visit Rwanda logo being carried on the sleeves of the players' jerseys. That sports is back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. The federal government has pledged to secure the safe return of the 24 schoolgirls abducted in Maga, Kebbi State. President Bola Tinubu has deferred his visit to South Africa and Angola to receive additional briefings on the recent attacks in Kebbi and Kwara. Also today, Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak paid a condolence visit to Eruku community where bandits killed 3 persons and abducted 35 members of the community. But that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Mwawadu. Good night and please stay safe.